apparently it was something, I don't know. But either way, should be working now. And welcome everyone to Streaming Screams. I am Glenn. I am here with Jessica.
Hello.
And we are going to talk about some horror. Today we're going to be discussing Alien Romulus. Released in 2024, written by Fede Alvarez and Rodo Sayagus, directed by Fede Alvarez. We've got Kaylee Spaney as Rain Carradine. She is an orphaned worker in the colony mines, but seems to be a little bit more of a slave to Weyland-Yutani. She cares for Andy, who she loves and considers her brother. After having 5 to 6 years of labor added to her contract, she is desperate to escape with her adopted brother. However, she is likely going to need to abandon him, the guilt of which is weighing on her. She's a strong character, but she's gone through a lot of pain and suffering and is kind of barely just holding things together.
And her name is the beginning of many, many, many fandom and references.
Really?
Carradine?
Explain?
John Carradine, the actor?
David Carradine?
Yeah.
What about him?
He's in the Alien franchise.
Was he?
Yeah, he's in the second one. He's the robot in the second one. He's Bishop.
No, that's Lance Henriksen.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
My bad.
David Carradine
Wiped that.
Yeah. We'll just leave that in there so I'm not the only one that makes mistakes on the podcast.
I make fun of it.
I know. Don't actually listen to us, people. We don't know what we're fucking doing. We've got David Johnson as Andy. Andy is an older, obsolete model of android who has been reprogrammed by Rain's father to take care of her. However, he has been damaged, rendering him more simplistic and childlike than he's supposed to be, making him more of a little brother than a guardian. He is capable of human emotion, although he may not fully understand them. His feelings get hurt a few times in this movie, but because of his desire to serve and help, especially Rain, he tries to maintain a stoicism in the face of people's hostilities and frequently tells really bad pun-based dad jokes.
He's the best character in here.
He is a really good character. It is weird how much sympathy I felt for his character, because I know he's a robot and like a barely functioning one.
Well, he's an android.
Yeah,
it's different.
I mean, kinda. He is an android. You know, they've got a history of being dicks in this series, so. Archie Renault is Tyler Harrison, Kay's brother and Rain's ex-boyfriend. He wants Rain's help to secure hypersleep chambers from a derelict space station. More than that, though, he wants Andy, who can interface and communicate with Mother, the Weyland-Yutani mainframe. We've got Isabella Merced as Kay Harrison, Tyler's sister, who is pregnant. The father is Bjorn, but she has chosen not to tell him because he is, quote, an asshole.
Do they actually say that it's Bjorn?
I actually don't know.
Because I don't believe they do. And I got the impression that it was just because there's a moment where the way they embrace seems to imply that. But other than that, I don't think she just says it's just some asshole.
I didn't do extensive online research about this, but I did pull up some information on each of the characters. And everything that I read said that Bjorn is the dude, and I think that was probably said by the director.
I assume so, just because there's one scene where they get together and he's like, "You're alive," and it seems like he like nuzzles into her. But other than that, and he's a fucking asshole. But and she says it's just some asshole. But other than that, I don't feel like there's anything to like associate. But there was that one scene where I was like,
I mean, sometimes that's enough.
Yeah, I was just wondering if they actually ever like stated it, and I missed it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it was supposed to be them. This kind of continues my ever-growing bafflement with how frequently we see incest in modern media.
This isn't, how would it be incest?
He's her first cousin.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Tyler is her brother, and he introduces Bjorn as their cousin.
All right.
Yeah, good times. We've got Spike Fern as Bjorn, Tyler and Kay's cousin. He lost his mother when an android made a calculated decision to seal several miners in a collapsing mine rather than risking more lives. So now he distrusts and dislikes androids. We've got Aileen Wu as Navarro, a pilot and Bjorn's adopted sister. She's the one that detected the signal of the Weyland-Yutani station and helped coordinate the plan to retrieve the hypersleep chambers. We've got Ian Holm and Daniel Betts as Rook. Rook is your typical early Weyland-Yutani android who cares nothing for the people around him and only tries to do what is best for the company, even if he gets everyone killed. His appearance is based on Ian Holm, but the voice is Daniel Betts.
Yeah, which I guess I'll just say this now. He looks fucking awful. I find it insanely distracting. It would be one thing if it's like it was just a scene. He's throughout the entire movie, and every time I was like, ugh.
What do you mean by he looks awful?
He looks terrible. Like, it doesn't look good. Stop putting dead people in movies. Just stop.
Okay. Oh, is Ian Holm dead? Is that the whole deal here? Okay.
Yeah, he's dead. He's not in this. It's not him. It's they used a cast of his face that was for Lord of the Rings, which is also like decades after like Aliens was made, so it doesn't look quite right. So it is a puppet that they CGI'd, and so many people complained during the theatrical release that they edited it for what is on streaming. They changed what it looks like because people like complained so much, and I hate it. It looks terrible. There's no reason for it. Stop doing it. Kind of hugely distracting because he's in a lot of the movie. Even on a blurry, shitty screen, you can tell how bad it is.
Well, and you know what's really annoying about that is there's not really any reason for him to look like the old
other
android.
Than just being like, look, remember? And which this whole movie is filled with.
Because the androids don't all have like the same face or anything.
No, but the director's excuse was that they already have established, though, that some of the androids look alike. And they did have...
No, I know. Lance Henriksen is a couple of them.
And so is the Prometheus guy. They have him play... In Covenant, he also plays.
Oh.
But the big difference is
I try not to remember that movie.
They were played by the same actor.
Right.
Not a fucking, like, robot and then somebody else completely doing their voice. And it's like, it's a puppet in CGI, and it looks awful. Stop putting dead people in movies. There's no reason to do it.
I agree.
It has never once looked good.
Nope.
Not a single time.
Nope.
And they're dead. Move on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I hate it. And it's like every time it came up in this movie, I was just like, ugh. This really took away from the movie for me. Again, because he's in it so much.
Right. This is why...
Even the shitty screen, it's like it's discolored and fuzzy, and it still looks bad.
Yeah, this is why they recast Furiosa when they did the Furiosa movie, was specifically because the director, I don't know why I can't remember his name now, but he thought that technology looked like shit. So instead of trying to de-age, what's her name?
Charlize Theron.
Thank you. I kept
I'm trying to think of now the director's name because I'm like, you can't not know.
Yeah. Come on now.
No, I got it. Oh, George Miller.
George Miller. Thank you. Yeah, totally should have known that.
Yeah, I was going to say Ridley Scott, and then I'm like, no, that's the original one.
No. He agreed. He was like, de-aging and fake person technology looks like shit. We're not going to do it. Just going to recast her.
Well, especially in this, there's no reason to do it other than bad fan service.
Yeah, which I was going to say this later, but I guess I'll say it right now. There's some things to like about this movie. I got so irritated with all the fan service.
Yeah, they could have called this Alien Force Awakens.
Yeah, or just the best of Alien.
Yeah.
Alien the Clip Show.
Yeah.
It's insane. I don't hate this movie, but fan service has started pissing me off in all its forms. Stop doing it. We don't need to see...
You can do it, like, you can have one or two scenes with it, but not a whole movie.
I mean, I think it's okay if you do, like, a callback or something, but we have no less than 3 scenes. I love how we're just going to get into this and we haven't even started talking about the movie.
Well, if you're saying 3 scenes, that's insane.
There are no less than 3 scenes where they basically recreate the exact scene.
No, there's way more than that.
From Alien 3?
Oh, well, no, from 1 and 2.
No. The
opening scene is literally almost shot for shot exactly the same.
I know that. What I'm saying is that that famous shot from Alien 3 where the alien is getting right in Ripley's face.
Oh, yeah, they do that a bunch of times.
They recreate that so many goddamn times. Yes. And it gets more blatant every time.
Yeah. I thought you meant just like references, and I'm like, or like shots from other movies. I'm like, no, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, no, it bums me out because I think in Fede Alvarez's Evil Dead remake, just just the right amount of fan service.
Yeah.
Enough that it just kind of implies that maybe it's a sequel, you know? We get Ash's car, great, whatever. But this was just bonkers.
Yeah. They basically do I got a bad feeling about this. That's Star Wars.
Oh, God. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This could have been called Aliens Force Awakens.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Okay, so starting the recap here, there's a lot of action in this movie. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of chases, a lot of hiding from stalking aliens, and, other action sequences that are pretty typical of alien films. So we're just not going to talk about most of them because there's really no reason to. We'll mostly just skip those, I think. So we start with a quick scene of a Weyland-Yutani vessel recovering a large cocoon from the wreckage of the Nostromo, the ship from the original Alien. We then meet Rain, who works in the mines of the Jackson Star Colony. She has fulfilled her 1,200-hour contract to the Weyland-Yutani Corporation and puts in a request for transport to Yavaga 3. However, due to a worker shortage, Weyland-Yutani has extended her contract to 2,400 hours, meaning she is trapped working in the mine for several more years. They estimate 5 to 6. Interestingly, when we see the clerk, when the camera pans down to like the computer that she's looking at, it does say that Rain is free to go.
Does it?
Yeah, and then it says that she's fulfilled her contract, she's free to go, and then I don't know if the clerk does something or not, but it changes.
Well, they mention later that their parents died of Lyme disease. So I've read some people think that it's that she got what was left over from her parents.
That is a possibility. I just thought it was interesting that we see her contract filled, and then the computer changes in front of us.
Well, it might update and being like, oh yeah.
Yeah, maybe. It is supposed to be the 24th century. How are computers going that slow? This is bullshit. During this sequence, we see a lot of how people live here. It is perpetually night. Nobody ever sees the sunlight. The streets are also really reminiscent of the first Blade Runner, which I did notice there's also a lot of references to Blade Runner in this movie, which I'm a little more okay with because, one, they are subtle, and I know that it's like known that the Alien franchise and Blade Runner are supposed to be in the same universe.
I didn't know that.
Oh, really? Yeah. And this was established by Ridley Scott long before the whole shared universe thing, even like in the 80s.
Okay, because I was going to say, I don't find Ridley Scott to be a very reliable thing about his own movies.
Because
he's gone back and forth about Blade Runner in itself. So,
well,
and his original intent, and it's like, well, we have you on film, saying different things.
Well, so he did say this back in the 80s, and one of the files that we see in the first Alien movie, and I don't remember why, but it does mention the Tyrell Corporation, which would be Weyland-Yutani's competitor. And is the corporation that builds the replicants in Blade Runner, which I'm pretty sure Andy is supposed to be a reference to the replicants in Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Because they call them Andys for androids.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I guess.
Replicant isn't used in the book. So Tyler and the rest of the miners talk to Rain about their plans to escape. They've decided that the Weyland-Yutani Corporation is never going to let them leave, so they want to make a run for Yavaga 3, which is unaffiliated with them, and which they seem to believe is an idealistic paradise.
Well, at least compared to where they are.
Yeah.
Also, when she first meets up with them in the trailer, on the kids playing a video game, and on the screen it says "Game Over, Man."
Oh, does it?
Yes.
God damn it.
Which would be fine except for all the other stuff.
I mean, if you want to have like one or two things, fine.
No, you want to know what's also funny? Because when she first goes there, they pan across like pictures of them all like hanging out. I wasn't really paying attention to the pictures, and like the asshole guy Bjorn, he has like a red headband around his thing and his haircut. So for a second, I was like, wait a minute, is that Vasquez from the second movie? And when you actually went back and rewinded, it was like, oh no, that's just like a group of the kids. So I for a second was like, wait, are there like parents? Are these the kids of the people? And then it was like, no, because that would be Alien too. But no, it's just that it has to be intentional. Yeah. Which that his hair and he has a hairband looks exact. When just panning by, I like thought it was her.
It's got to be. It's got to be. It's so ridiculous. God, that would be funny if they fucked that up, because this is supposed to take place before Aliens.
Yeah, like long time. 30 years?
Something like that. I don't remember what the actual gap is between Alien and Aliens. I think it's like 50 years or something.
Yeah, something like that.
It's something ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
no, it was just because I wasn't really paying attention to the pictures. And then I was like, wait a minute. And then it's like, that has to be intentional that has the same like hair and headband.
Probably. Yeah, Fede Alvarez, what the fuck were you thinking here? So they do have a ship that can get them to their destination, but they are going to need some hypersleep chambers in order to make it the whole way. Rain initially refuses, scared to trespass on Weyland-Yutani property, but she ends up relenting. The ship which they refer to as the hauler, because I guess it hauls stuff. So they take the hauler to what they think is the Weyland-Yutani ship, but it turns out to be the space station Renaissance, which is divided into two sections, Romulus and Remus. I am curious about why they did that, because like they never do anything on Remus, but it seems to be a big deal that the space station is split into two.
Because it's the whole theme with the alien mother. It's the newborn later. Because Romulus and Remus end up like sucking on the teat of like a wolf. That's literally, I'm pretty sure, the only reason.
When we get to that part, you'll have to go into more depth on that, because I'm not seeing the connection you're talking about. But this fucking movie. Like I said, I don't dislike this movie. I found it enjoyable enough. It's a fun like action movie. Just don't think about it. But if you were to watch these in chronological order of the movie, it would be annoying to fucking watch. Yeah, because you're just seeing like recreations of scenes and like dialogue being reused, and it's annoying. Yeah, but if you just watch it on its own thing and just don't think about it, it's fine. Yeah, it is funny, because my second watch through, when I was being more analytical about things, my enjoyment of the movie just fucking plummeted. Yeah. You know, because then I start really picking this stuff apart, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, stop. So Tyler, Andy, and Bjorn all board the station to work on fixing the unstable gravity and atmosphere systems. They find that the hypersleep pods are indeed functional, but don't have enough fuel to get them all the way to their destination. Finding a large cryogenic chamber that has the fuel that they need, they start taking the fuel, which turns out to be a bad idea, because the cryogenic chamber has a shitload of facehuggers in it, which they accidentally release while also triggering an automatic lockdown. Unfortunately, even though Andy is able to communicate with Mother, he does not have the clearance to override the lockdown, which is a bummer, because the facehuggers are going to attack pretty soon. So of course, Rain and Navarro come to try to help, leaving Kay on the ship. Rain finds the station's busted-ass android, Rook, and takes a module from its brain that Tyler installs in Andy. The chip gives Andy the permissions it needs. As a bonus, also starts repairing his malfunctions, but it also overrides his prime directive and makes him a tool of Weyland-Yutani for real. His warm, loving personality is replaced by this cold, calculating personality that we've seen in other androids throughout the series. So he does override the lockdown, which allows them to escape the lab, but also releases all those facehuggers who chase the miners, and eventually one gets Navarro. This whole scene, just like of them trying to get away from the facehuggers, I'm like, these kids are just way better than any of the adults in any fucking movie. Like, usually one is like a hard time. They have like how many? And they it looks like 100. I think it's like a couple dozen, or but a few dozen. Yeah. But they like fall over and have it like coming towards them, and they're still able to like block them off. And I'm just like, usually like the luckiest kids, like compared to like all the other alien movies, they just make them seem like it kind of makes the Space Marines and Aliens look bad. Yeah. Again, the facehuggers were always like, they were sneaky, and people were like, fucked, like, about them. Like, in Aliens, Ripley gets locked in a room with two of them, I think. Something like that. And that's like a whole ordeal. But yet they got like 24 whatever, even swimming in water and shit, and they're okay. Yeah. They make it out of there. Lucky kids, man. Yeah. So unable to free her, they reactivate Rook, who gives us a big ol' exposition dump. He also says that Navarro can't be saved, but that doesn't stop Tyler from trying, and apparently succeeding in getting the facehugger off. But of course, we all know where this is going. There is a cool thing, though, that when they're pulling it off, you see like a lump
go through like the tube.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's like you see it get impregnate.
So it really injects it at like the last moment.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing about this movie. All the Aliens movies, I do like the Alien franchise, but it's like not the best. It's not the most well written in the world.
It's a very hit or miss franchise.
Yeah, but
it's what
throughout the whole series, though, it's been wildly inconsistent how long each stage takes.
Yes.
But this movie is literally like everything's on speed run.
Yeah.
You're like, you get impregnated, it's out in like 5 minutes, then it goes away, it's grown up in 5 minutes, When did it even make the pupa? We don't know. It's fine. It did it right away.
It is mind-boggling.
In all the movies, it's quick, but not like this. Like in the first one, he was at least like hours or a day. The guy was like in a coma.
I mean, time to get out of the like medical bay and start moving around, take a shower, and start eating dinner.
Yeah, well, I'm even saying
least.
Though he was also in a coma for a long time.
Yeah.
like at least a few hours or a day, and then he gets up and all this stuff. So it's like, but the other movies also, it's like. It's similar to The Walking Dead in that everything takes the amount of time that the plot needs. Like, otherwise, who could say, fuck it, we don't care.
Yeah.
No, you could argue in this one because they do explain that the face huggers are actually made. They were made. They weren't found.
Right.
They were made from the black goo stuff. So maybe that's speeding it up. But it's just insane how fast everything happens in this movie. Think like, this isn't the point. We got to get to it. You already know about the evolving.
Well, and so also, and we haven't gotten to this yet. I think we get to it soon. They added a whole nother stage to the alien development's life cycle. In the previous movies, when the aliens made their hives, the cocoons were all for like breeding for like their captives. In this one, the alien, for some reason, cocoons itself to the wall to go from like the chest burster phase to the normal phase that we all,
Well, to be fair, we never
one.
see the in-between. We just see that it sheds skin. There could have been an in-between that we just never saw. You don't know.
I mean, we don't know for certain, but we do see later the mutant alien doesn't do anything like this, and it grows real fucking rapid. Like,
yeah, but that's again.
it just hurts me.
Yeah,
people are gonna think we fucking hate this movie. So despite Andy's attempts to stop them, Bjorn and Navarro escape to their ship, leaving the others behind. But of course, the chest burster kills Navarro on its way out of her chest, also causing the ship to crash into the station's hangar bay. Amazing luck on that one. And destabilizing the ship and putting it on a crash course with the planet's rings. Kay then starts looking for the other miners. She and Bjorn escape the ship, but find that here we are. But find that the xenomorph has cocooned itself to the wall of her ship. Bjorn tries to electrocute it, but instead it hatches and kills him. So, oops.
Which the hatching scene's pretty cool, though.
The hatching scene is pretty cool.
Because you see all the small details, like, of the way it's coming out and stuff.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Well, because they used a bunch of practical effects for this.
I know it's going to sound like we're just bagging on this movie. There is a lot to like about it. Just the things that they fucked up are really irksome.
Thanks for joining us here at the Streaming Screams podcast. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and YouTube at Streaming Screams Pod.
You can also find us on TikTok and Blue Sky at Screams Pod.
Every follow, like, thumb, rating, review, subscription, and share all help us out a lot with all the algorithm shit.
So if you like what we're doing, please rate us wherever you get your podcasts, like our posts, all that other good internet bullshit. And again, thank you for listening to
the Streaming Screams podcast.
The surviving group reaches the hangar where Kay is, but Andy refuses to open the door because he sees the xenomorph behind her and knows it will also escape.
Well, he literally says that he's pretty sure that it's baiting him, that it's not getting her because it's waiting.
Right. I can't fault his logic here.
Yeah.
Which sucks because they watch as Kay is dragged away. And as Rain confronts him about not opening the door, he makes it clear that he knows she was going to leave him behind and that he resents it, but only so far as his program will really allow him to express these things. Yeah. Didn't mention it earlier, but the planet that they're going to is not friendly to androids, and he would not be allowed there.
Yeah.
So he would probably have to return to the mining colony.
Yeah. Or be destroyed, more likely.
Yeah.
Why would we use resources to return them?
True. They're not affiliated with Weyland-Yutani. Yeah, and that guilt's been weighing on Rain. Andy makes it clear that he knows, and he does it in this way that is very passive-aggressive.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny. And I don't know if he's deliberately doing it passive-aggressively or if it's just because, he's a cold-hearted robot now.
Yeah, because Ash is pretty passive-aggressive in the original one also.
Yeah.
Once they, get the alien.
Very true. Well, I haven't watched the original in a long time.
Oh, me and Craven, before we knew we were going to do the Ford podcast, we watched the first one through all the Alien versus Predators. Because Craven hadn't seen them.
Boy, that second Alien versus Predator is rough.
It's so bad.
It's
can't
so
see
bad.
anything.
No. I also think that the first
90%
Alien versus
of the
Predator
movie,
sucked.
you're like, what is happening? Actually, rewatching them, the first one's not that bad.
I mean, is that just comparatively, though? Because there are some real duds in this fucking franchise.
Even before we watched the second one, I was like, this is better than I remember. We did watch the unrated version, though, so...
Okay. Yeah.
It's not that bad.
But, I mean, really, the Aliens franchise is a long-suffering franchise.
Yeah.
And probably should just stop at this point.
Well, there's a TV show coming out. There's already a trailer for it.
Yay. I mean, I suppose I'll have to watch it. So Andy is now following his new directive and finds some samples of an experimental fluid extracted from the xenomorphs.
Which Andy, the guy who plays Andy, he does a really good job of switching tones and characters. I think this guy's great.
He is a really good actor.
It's the best part of the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, the most sympathetic character most of the time.
Yeah.
Really good actor. The way he does his facial expressions.
Yeah.
To
very
show the emotion,
subtle mannerisms.
Yeah, and they very successfully show the emotions that he's got, even though he is a robot.
Yeah,
he's kind of trying to suppress them. He gets this experimental fluid, which Rook calls Prometheus fire. Another reference. But yeah, Rook calls it Prometheus fire, so this isn't going to be good, especially when he shows them footage of it resurrecting and repairing a crushed rat. They don't, however, see how it horribly mutates and kills that same rat, which it kind of looks like something starts emerging from the rat, but I'm not totally sure.
Yeah.
He also takes control of the station and refuses to let them leave without samples of the Prometheus fire on board. Worth noting also, the Prometheus fire seems to have some pretty strong parallels to Andy's upgrade with the new chip or the new module that's been put in his brain. It's repaired him, but it's also turned him into something else, etc., etc., etc. Rain and Tyler find some guns and start fighting their way back to their ship, and they rescue a badly injured Kay from a cocoon in a hallway turned xenomorph hive.
They get the guns, they are make a point to be don't shoot them because of the acid.
Right.
They're maybe they'll be intimidated by them. Why would they even know what a fucking gun is?
I mean...
These are all new xenomorphs. They're not... None of them were around before.
I mean, one of them understood the concept of baiting you from behind a door.
That's different.
But yeah, no.
That's totally different. That's a natural hunting instinct.
Yeah, it is very silly. I did find that explanation stupid. It's... This whole scene with the guns is this perfect microcosm of the movie.
Yeah.
Because there are clearly some references to aliens as they're gearing up. They do a good job of explaining how it is that they're going to be able to use the guns effectively, and also do a good job explaining why they shouldn't use the guns.
Yeah.
But that leaves so many issues. It's just clumsy. This movie's clumsy.
Yeah.
They rescue an injured Kay from a cocoon in a hallway that has been turned into a xenomorph hive.
This is when Bjorn, when they reintroduce, he kind of nuzzles into her.
Yeah.
And so that's the only reason I was is he the dad? Because nowhere else have they shown them really have any relationship other than they're on the same crew. They haven't interacted much.
Yep.
I have a problem with their whole pregnancy thing, too.
I mean,
The way they introduce this pregnancy in the very beginning is like, it's the very beginning. We just met the crew. They're on the shuttle, I think. And she throws up and they're like, oh, I'm pregnant. And then they just like, barely she's in the rest of in the movie for like a big chunk. So it's so blatantly obvious that it's like, plot point, put a pin in that.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, they could have done this with more emotional impact. They could have been, we could get to know the characters more first before we're introduced to this. 2, she could be in danger and then introduce it. So it has some big impact, but it has zero impact. It's just so blatantly obvious.
We could have a moment where Bjorn finds out.
Yeah, it's something, but they do it just so like blatantly, and then it's irrelevant until like now,
right
towards the end of the movie, and it's like, yeah, it was just like, remember that pin? I don't know. I didn't like how they did that. I thought it was very lazy writing.
I 100% agree. A fresh xenomorph attack leaves Andy damaged yet again and Tyler dead. Rain gets Kay to an elevator telling her to get back to the ship and goes back to try to rescue Andy. Kay does make it to the ship and injects herself with the Prometheus fire, which starts closing up her wounds. Surely there won't be any repercussions for doing this. Rain removes the module, returning Andy back to normal before more xenomorphs show up. They cut the gravity so that they can shoot the aliens without the acid blood eating through the bottom of the space station. And I will say, this does actually lead to a sequence that I really liked of them trying to dodge all the alien blood.
I liked it too, but I also thought it was stupid. Like, it's fun, but I'm just like, come on, like, I just don't see how this is gonna stop it, because of, again, there is still movement. The acid is still moving towards the hull, just slowly.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm like, what is your real plan here? Because what you explained doesn't make sense, but it is a fun scene.
Yeah, it is.
It's basically like the spy going through the lasers.
Yeah.
Also, that can't be where she nuzzled her Kay, because didn't he die when he, like, isn't Bjorn the one that died when they electrocuted the pod thing?
I think so.
Yeah. But there's some scene where they nuzzle, and I was like,
Yeah, it doesn't matter. This isn't a highly intellectual movie with great story arcs or anything.
Yeah.
It's a fun action horror.
Yeah.
And that's really all it is. Starts off as Alien, turns into Aliens, and recreates everything that you remember from the entire series.
Yeah.
So they make it to the ship right before the station crashes into the rings, destroying it, but also taking out Rook and the xenomorphs with it. I did really like the way this looks, and I know it's all like CGI, but I did just love the visuals of it.
Yeah.
The space station basically grinding itself into the rings and becoming part of them.
No, that's cool.
Yeah. Rain puts Kay in a hypersleep chamber and begins setting the course for Yavaga 3, but there's an alert. They find Kay giving birth to an alien egg, which also looks like a vagina. So we've got a vagina coming from a vagina. Vaginaception.
Well, they're keeping all the Giger, like,
I know.
visual.
Just, vaginaception.
Yeah.
Yo, dog, we put a vagina in your vagina so you can vagina while you vagina. She pushes out this egg, and then a rapidly growing mutant xenomorph hybrid is birthed from this egg. And this is something I'll give them credit for. I feel like this movie really achieves what Resurrection miserably failed to do, which was give us an actual disturbing and scary alien-human hybrid thing.
Yeah, but the difference is one, it's not really a human hybrid. It's more a hybrid of the engineers from Prometheus.
It is all three.
Yeah, but in Resurrection, it was that they were cloning like DNA from Ripley to try to get something. So, and they already showed that they like fucked up a bunch. So that one, it makes sense that it looks all weird.
Yeah. It just looks dumb and not threatening. I guess. Yeah. It looks ridiculous.
It looks kind of sad in Resurrection.
It should. It's a disappointment to its species. I think the new one looks a lot more threatening. The way it looks also plants it really deeply in the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you'll agree with this. Mm-hmm. This may not even make sense. Not only does it look soulless, but it looks stupid in a way that I actually find threatening. Like
when it smiles.
Yeah.
He smiles.
Yeah, but he looks really derpy, but like not derpy in a cute way. Derpy as in this thing's gonna fucking, kill me because it doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just looked. There's something about the way in which it looked.
I'd just be careful because you know it's a real person in a suit.
Yeah,
it's not CGI, and he does.
But with heavy makeup and all of that, and the black eyes and all of that stuff, like I'm sure the actor looks fine. Does the actor look derpy?
Well, because he's got some condition. He's like 7'7" and lanky. I'm gonna show you. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's not the lankiness. Honestly, I think more than anything.
Well, even like his.
Yeah, that is not what I'm talking about.
Like, because he's disproportionate. Because he's got some.
That's fine.
His voice is crazy deep too.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, usually is when you've got gigantism.
Oh, I know.
And his neck is pretty long.
Yeah, but it's always just interesting because it's not.
Yeah, no, I am not saying that he looks stupid. Yeah. I don't think he does. But there's something about the black eyes in combination with the mouth and the like silvery skin that. Remember when I told you how Katie was pissing me off when we were watching Shin Godzilla? Because every time she saw the big bug-eyed version, she'd go, derp, derp.
Yeah.
That was kind of how I
how
I felt when I saw this. But I think I've also told you, and we'll talk about this sometime when we do Shin Godzilla, the fact that Godzilla looks so derpy actually kind of scared me more because, like, yeah, giant monster, terrifying. Yeah. Giant monster that looks like that's some Lovecraftian sanity-breaking shit, you know? Like I'm going to be crushed by a giant baby derping its way around the city.
Okay.
It kills Kay, does some pretty severe damage to Andy. Andy never catches a fucking break in this movie.
No.
While also destabilizing the ship and putting us again on a collision course with the rings of the planet.
Yeah.
That irritated me. We didn't need to have that as two separate plot points.
Yeah.
So Rain is in her underwear and she slips into a spacesuit exactly the way Ripley did in the first movie because, of course, fights the mutant and blows it out into the vacuum of space with a cargo pod very similar to Alien. She gets control of the ship and stops it from crashing into the rings. She puts Andy in a hypersleep chamber and records a ship log talking about not knowing what awaits them at their final destination, but being hopeful, mirroring the fucking ship's log that Ripley does at the end of number 1.
Yeah.
Just endless in this fucking movie.
Which I don't know what the plan is here because they already know that there's not enough energy. They needed 9 years and they only had 3.
They got the fuel from the cryogenic chamber.
I didn't think they did.
That's how they released all the stupid face huggers. Was because they stole the fuel for that. Yeah. Also, I know this is somewhere in my notes, but I'm gonna get it out of the way now since we've been banging on about this fan service the whole time.
Yeah.
Get away from her, you bitch.
Yeah.
They seriously had that line in the movie. They had the worst person in the fucking cast to say something like that. Say it. Andy. No reason for him to say something like that.
Yeah.
And he doesn't sound like, when Ripley says it, she sounds fucking tough and cool. And you're like, yeah, go fuck her up. When Andy does it, he's like tripping over it.
Because he's not tough and cool.
No, he's not. He's a child put in this crazy situation. So
But no, they also have Rook say Ash's line.
Oh, which one?
He says, I can't lie to you about your chances, but you have my sympathies.
Oh, yeah, that was in the first one. God. I do remember when the xenomorphs were attacking, they recreate that shot of them coming through the vent from Aliens.
Yeah.
It's so much. The fan service was such a bog in this movie, and
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so we did touch on this shortly before. The film does take place after the first Alien, but before Aliens, and does not change or override any of the other movies. They are all canon, which is too bad because it means that Resurrection and Covenant are still a thing.
Well, my thing is, so the very opening scene, they showed them extracting the cocoon from...
the Nostromo.
Which that doesn't make sense. The Nostromo was destroyed. It self-destruct.
Right.
When Ripley ejected the alien, she was on a pod.
Yeah.
So why would it be back on the Nostromo? How? It blew up, and the alien wasn't even on it at the time.
I don't know. Maybe because...
I'm just saying that...
You know what? I'm going to do my best to give you an explanation for this. And this just shows how little thought went into this movie at times. Maybe Ripley, she's in this pod. Mm-hmm. It has been ejected from the Nostromo, and she's just going in a straight line, right? Most likely, because she doesn't know where she's going.
Yeah.
She flat out says that. So maybe she blew the alien out of the airlock, and because you basically have infinite inertia in space, it just happened to hit the fucking wreckage of the Nostromo. That is all I can think of to explain that. I don't think there would be
much of a wreckage. It would be in pieces.
I mean, it was pretty tore up in this movie. But look, man, I am not saying that's what happened. I 100% agree with you. Yeah. Just trying to...
Because it's also part of the reason that they have at the end that they're crashing into the planet's rings. Because then that means the alien's actually, like, destroyed.
Right.
He was ripped apart. So you don't have to worry about the cocoon thing.
Yeah.
Though, they do show, like, the mining planet. You can see it in the distance. So... is this space station gonna make it there with all the, like, face huggers and shit still on it?
I mean, the space station's destroyed.
So is mushrooms.
Well, right, but the space station was destroyed in a way that, like, it was like, you know, raking it over a giant cheese grater, you know.
Yeah. I will say, I think the best scenes in this movie are the action scenes in the elevator. The elevator shaft. It's pretty cool.
They did do a good job with that. Like a lot of the action scenes are great.
Yeah.
They're easily the most fun part of this movie. I also feel like there's a lot of political statements being made in this movie. Definitely deals with extreme corporate greed, class exploitation.
Well, that's what I was saying. The Romulus and Remus thing.
Yeah.
They're the ones that started Rome.
Okay.
The imagery that they're famous for is them sucking on the teat of a wolf that, like, took them in. And so, like, yeah, Wayland Yutani is trying to make their elite
They're trying to make their own Rome.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then, so they also, when they first enter Romulus, there's a painting that they show and they talk about. I forget what the painting actually is. But one thing they super focus on is a dead woman and a baby trying to still feed on her.
Right.
And then at the end, when we have the newborn thing, I don't know what they call it.
When I was
hybrid
reading,
newborn
they called
thingy.
it the offspring, I think is the official name.
Yeah, so the offspring, he goes back to Kay, and they show him feeding on her because she starts lactating goo after she gives birth. They show her, like, going like, and, like, touching herself and pulling off, like, goo because she's...
That's what was happening.
Yeah, she's lactating goo. And then they show that the offspring is, like, latched to her, and it's similar to the painting that we saw. So it's all Rome themes.
Okay. Yeah, that actually did kind of confuse me a little. I thought it was just a throwaway deal.
Because they showed he's, like, suckling on her and to death.
See, the problem is this movie had already turned my brain off by this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the movie does deal a lot with pregnancy, which, I mean, a lot of them do, but it's hard to imagine in today's political climate that there aren't some statements being made about reproductive rights in there.
Yeah, I don't know, though, because they mentioned the pregnancy, and then it's just not, she's barely in it until, like, she gets captured.
Yeah. But then she gives birth to the atrocity.
But that's only
that
at
is
the
the
end,
offspring.
so it just seems like, I don't know, it's weird.
It's clumsy.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there has to be a statement in there because it's such a big thing in politics today, and he was clearly trying to make some statements. But I do think it was clumsily handled. Like, I can't tell you what the statement was.
Yeah.
It's also another pretty major studio film that has some really heavy anti-corporate messaging, which is something that I can't say that I have a ton to say about right now, but it's been showing up a lot in recent years, and it's not sitting well with me. I feel like having all of these anti-corporate movies made by these huge corporations is gaslighting us somehow, or like making us kind of accept them in a way, or I don't know. And then I have this big note about all the fan service here. The fucking face-to-face with the alien thing happens 3 separate times, and it's insane. The alien dropping silently behind somebody was from Aliens.
Yeah, they have, like, also this scene from Aliens where it's, like, in a shaft, like a bunch of them coming up at once.
Yeah.
Though I think that works, and I wish they would lean more into it, because one of the things that makes the aliens scary is that they're basically a colony of ants.
Right.
Their only goal is protect the queen. If there's a queen, I don't think they don't show one in this, but
there isn't one in this one.
But it's protect the queen and expand the colony, because they roughly, in most of the movies, like take about 50% of the people. They don't kill them; they take them to breed, and they have no self-preservation. The facehuggers don't have any. The aliens don't, because they're just trying to expand again their colony. They don't care about. They don't have individual need to survive,
right?
Which makes them more dangerous.
Yeah, and I agree. I would like to see more movies where they're swarming. Basically, honestly, this callback wouldn't have bothered me except for all of the other ones. Yeah, seriously,
the dialogue ones is just really annoying.
It is really annoying, and like, guys, fucking directors, stop doing this. Streaming and DVDs and Blu-rays exist. Yeah. We can all see these scenes anytime we want. We don't need them all recreated for us. Yeah, ridiculous.
And I typically, when these newer movies come out, I do like to go and like watch the whole series, so it makes it more blatantly obvious, because I'm like, oh, huh.
Also, something that I was just thinking about that they never address in any of the movies is I really wonder what the social ramifications of hypersleep are.
Oh, especially if you're pregnant.
Yeah, but
we were thinking about that, because they were going to put a pregnant woman in there, and I'm like, 9 years?
Yeah,
what's that going to do?
Well, I assume she's in stasis the whole time, because that's the whole thing about hypersleep, right?
I know, but I mean, like, theoretically, is that possible with the like a growing organism in you?
I mean, flash freezing has probably come a long way in 200 years, but I mean, yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just thinking, like, all right, say I take a contract on a fucking mining colony somewhere because, whatever, I'm desperate, 3 years of my life. So I fucking travel out for 3 years, work on this colony for a few years, come back, presumably. Yeah. You would be in a thoroughly different phase of life. Yeah. You wouldn't even know me anymore. Yeah. How many of your loved ones fucking die while you're just going from one planet to the next? Yeah. Honestly, I don't think they need to make any more of these. This is a very long suffering franchise, and just it's already dead. Stop. Yeah. But I mean, if they are going to do that, I would really like to see somebody take a thoughtful approach to some of these things. Like, what does happen when you go traveling through space and like your family and your friends' life just keep going on without you? But then, what happens when they travel, and just everybody, you would assume that social groups as we know them can't exist with this kind of thing being normal. Right. So that's all of my notes. Yeah. Do you have more stuff?
I do have one other thing to say. So one thing that might have anything to do with some of the sloppy writing, I don't know. This is probably the first movie I've ever heard of that it was meant to be a Hulu release. It was meant to be a Hulu original. Really? And then it wasn't until like much later they decided to do a theatrical release. So I'm like, does that mean not as much money was put towards? I mean, it looks great. The movie looks fantastic. I'm not trying to like knock anything about that, but I'm wondering like how that changes how it was made.
I would be very curious. Unfortunately,
because I've never heard of that before.
Yeah,
it's usually the other way around.
A bigger budget would not. Yeah, maybe the budget was small and they were just like surprised at what a good job Fede Alvarez did with most of the movie. Yeah, because I hate to harp on this, but if it wasn't for all the fucking callbacks and fan service, I think I would have really liked this movie. Yeah. With that exception, I think it's better than most of the movies in the franchise.
I know, but a lot of people say that, but I'm like, that's not saying much.
No, I know.
They're like, it's the best one since Aliens. I'm like, okay, congrats.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the others are all pretty much trash.
I mean, the third and fourth one are actually just boring.
Yeah. 3 and 4 are...
They have, like, good scenes.
3 is really boring. 4 is a train wreck. But the less said about the Aliens versus Predator movies, the better. I hated Covenant. I don't even remember why I hated Covenant, but I know that I hated it.
Because I don't remember much about it.
Prometheus I enjoyed.
Not as an alien movie, though.
Right. Not as an alien movie. And also, there was a lot about that movie that I didn't notice and didn't think about. And then everybody just started picking at it. And I'm like... I guess they were really stupid, weren't they?
One of the things that's confusing about Prometheus, if you go back and watch it, it's not telling you the story of how aliens became to be a thing. Because clearly the engineers, they have a wall that has an engraving with the xenomorph on it. So that means they've already encountered the xenomorphs.
Or maybe they made it a long time ago.
I don't know, but it means that they've already existed.
Yeah.
So that is not the origin of them. So what's the point of that? So what?
I don't know, man. Like I said,
Because I like
just put this
Prometheus. I just don't like it as an alien movie.
Yeah. Just like I said, just put this series out of its misery already.
TV shows, there's a trailer for it on Alien Earth. I haven't watched the trailer yet, but it's on. I think it's just a teaser, but it's on Hulu.
So what's that going to be? Just like
I don't
aliens running around fucking New York?
I haven't looked into it really.
I mean, I can't say that. You know what's annoying? I'm not interested in that. That sounds stupid. And there's kind of no point in putting aliens on Earth. But I'm going to watch it anyway because I'm part of the problem.
Yeah. But yeah, if you like the Alien franchise, check it out.
Yeah.
If you like just stupid action movies, check it out.
And if you're one of those people who actually really likes fan service, and there's way too many of you, you'll love it.
Yeah.
You want to see that scene from Alien 3 recreated no less than 3 times and probably more that I didn't even notice?
Do it.
It's for you.
Yeah.
You'll love it. Jessica, play us out.
I'm a company man. I'm a company man. I'm making those aliens any way that I can, 'cause I'm a company man. I mean, I prefer synthetic person.